Have you ever looked up at the night sky and just wondered? I mean, truly wondered. Not just about stars or planets, but about the profound, the immense, the seemingly impossible distances between them, and the silent, ancient question that hangs in that infinite blackness. Are we truly alone? It's a question that has captivated humanity since we first grasped the concept of the heavens. It's fueled our myths, our religions, our science fiction, and if one man is to be believed, it's a question that has already been answered. Not with a signal from across the galaxy, but with a handshake in the Nevada desert. A secret so monumental, so world-shattering, that its very existence has been buried under layers of official denial, public ridicule, and a campaign of disinformation so effective that we're still debating its truth over 3 decades later. This is not just another UFO story. This is a story that challenges the very fabric of reality as we know it. It's a story of physics that reads like magic, of elements that shouldn't exist, of technology that bends the universe itself to its will. And at the heart of it all is a man named Bob Lazar. Welcome to a celestial journey into one of the most explosive, controversial, and utterly fascinating narratives of our time. Strap in, because we are about to dive deep into the rabbit hole. In the vast and often murky world of UFO lore, few names generate as much instant polarization as Bob Lazar. To some, he is the ultimate whistleblower, a brilliant physicist who risked everything to pull back the curtain on the greatest secret in human history. To others, he is a consummate con artist, a master fabricator whose story, though compelling, unravels under the slightest scrutiny. There seems to be no middle ground. You either believe him or you think he's a liar. But to simply dismiss him is to miss the point entirely. Because the story of Bob Lazar is so much more than the man himself. It's a story that has woven its way into the very DNA of modern conspiracy theory, and it all started in 1989. The setting was Las Vegas. Not the glitzy, neon-soaked strip, but the quieter, more pragmatic city that exists in its shadow. A journalist named George Knapp, a respected news reporter for Kloss TV, was about to get a tip that would change his career in the UFO landscape forever. His source was a man who insisted on anonymity. His face was hidden in shadow, his voice was altered. He called himself Dennis. This Dennis made an incredible claim. He said he had worked at a top-secret facility, not at the famous Area 51, but near it. A place even more clandestine, known only as S4. And at this facility, S4, he claimed, the United States government was in possession of and was actively trying to reverse engineer aircraft that were not of this world. The story was so outrageous, so seemingly preposterous, that most journalists would have shown him the door. But George Knapp was not most journalists. He sensed something, a strange conviction in this Dennis. He agreed to hear him out, and what followed was a series of interviews that would soon send shockwaves around the globe. Eventually, Dennis would reveal himself. He was Robert Scott Lazar, Bob Lazar, and the details he provided were not the vague, fuzzy claims of a typical UFO sighting. They were specific, technical, and utterly mind-bending. Let's break down his claims, one earth-shattering revelation at a time. The first, and perhaps most visually stunning claim, was the sheer scale of the operation. Lazar didn't just claim there was one crashed saucer tucked away in a hangar. He alleged that the US government was concealing 9 separate alien spacecraft. 9. These craft, he said, were housed in enormous underground hangars that were literally carved into the side of a mountain near the legendary Groom Lake, a place we know as Area 51. He described being driven to this S4 facility in a bus with windows so heavily tinted they were nearly black. The journey felt deliberately disorienting, but when he arrived and was escorted inside, his description of what he saw is the stuff of science fiction made real. He said the hangar doors were built to blend seamlessly with the mountain itself. From the outside, it was just rock and desert, but on the inside, it was a technological palace hiding the impossible. He witnessed these craft firsthand. They were not crumpled, wrecked debris from some ancient crash. He insisted they appeared undamaged, fully intact, as if they had been parked there by their owners, who were conspicuously absent. He described their design, the classic saucer shape, but with a detail that has since become iconic. He said one of them, the one he would later work on, was a dull metallic gray and had a distinctive, almost artistic symbol on its side. A symbol he would later sketch and has remained consistent in his telling for over 30 years. He was adamant. These were not secret military projects. This was not some next-generation stealth bomber. This was something entirely other. But the physical description of the crafts was just the appetizer. The main course, the thing that truly separates Lazar's story from all others, was his description of how they worked. And this is where we leave the world of conventional aerodynamics and enter the realm of, well, magic. Perhaps the single most famous and most debated aspect of Bob Lazar's entire testimony is element 115. Lazar claimed that the fuel source, the power plant, for these alien reactors was a substance unknown to science at the time. An element with an atomic number of 115. On the periodic table of elements, everything beyond uranium, number 92, is unstable. They are synthetic elements created in laboratories, and they decay radioactively in a matter of milliseconds, sometimes even microseconds. They simply don't exist in nature. In 1989, the highest numbered element officially recognized was 109. Element 115 didn't exist. It was pure science fiction. But Lazar described it with stunning specificity. He didn't just say a magic element. He said that this craft utilized a stable isotope of element 115. Stable. That was the key word. He described it as a dull, orangish metal, incredibly dense, and that it served a dual purpose. First, it was used in a reactor to generate an immense amount of energy. But second, and this is the crucial part, it was the key to generating an intense gravitational field. This is the core of his story, the thing that makes it so revolutionary and so hard to believe. Lazar explained that the propulsion system had nothing to do with thrust, with rockets, with jets, with anything we would recognize as a means of flight. It wasn't pushing against the air. Instead, it was manipulating the very fabric of space-time itself. He described a gravity amplifier, a system that could focus a gravitational wave, effectively allowing the craft to ride on a gravitational field that it itself was creating. Think about that for a second. Imagine you're in a car, but instead of wheels, you have a device that can literally pull the road up to meet you. You're not moving through space, you're bending space around you. This technology, he argued, made traditional concepts of aerodynamics completely irrelevant. It explained why UFOs and countless sightings are described as moving in ways that defy physics. Instantaneous 90-degree turns at thousands of miles per hour. Hovering motionless without any visible means of support. Hypersonic speeds without sonic booms. Because if you're not moving through the air, but instead are manipulating the gravitational field that connects you to everything else, then the air, the inertia, the G-forces, they simply don't apply to you. You're playing by a completely different set of rules. This concept of gravity propulsion is the holy grail of physics. It's the key to the stars. And Bob Lazar was sitting in a chair in a Las Vegas newsroom, claiming it was not only real, but that he had touched it. Now, here's where the story takes one of its most dramatic turns. For years, the scientific establishment and Lazar's skeptics pointed to element 115 as the ultimate proof of his fraud. It doesn't exist, they said. It's impossible. He made it up. It was the easiest stick to beat him with. But then, something remarkable happened. In 2003, a team of Russian and American scientists successfully synthesized for the first time atoms of element 115. They created it by smashing atoms together in a particle accelerator. And in 2016, it was officially added to the periodic table and given the name Moscovium. The skeptics cheered. Aha, they said. See? It was created in a lab. It's not stable. It decays in less than a second. Lazar was wrong. But the believers, they also cheered. Aha, they said. The element exists. He was right about the number. And he never said the unstable isotope created in a particle accelerator was the fuel. He said they used a stable isotope. And who's to say that a stable isotope can't exist? What if it requires conditions we can't yet create? Or what if it comes from a part of the universe where the laws of physics are slightly different? The coincidence or prescience was enough to keep the debate raging hotter than ever. It was the detail that refused to die. Of course, a story like this doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not just about physics and flying saucers, it's about people and power. And Lazar's fourth major claim was one of a massive, intentional, and ruthless government cover-up. He described a culture of extreme secrecy and compartmentalization at S4. Scientists and engineers, he said, were kept in isolated groups. You only worked on your specific component. You weren't allowed to see the big picture. You weren't allowed to talk to the team working on the system next to yours. It was a need-to-know environment on steroids. He claimed he was given technical manuals to study, manuals that were written not in English, but in a strange, symbolic language that he believed was the native language of the craft's creators. His job was to decipher the physics behind the symbols, to understand the how without ever being told the who or the why. And then he went public. He told his friends. He took them out to the desert to watch the test flights he claimed happened on Wednesday nights. And that's when he says the trouble began. His story is filled with accounts of harassment and intimidation. He claims he was followed, that his house was broken into, that he and his wife were threatened, that his past was systematically erased. This leads us to the biggest weapon in the skeptic's arsenal, the lack of verifiable evidence for Bob Lazar himself. Skeptics have done deep dives into his background. They've looked for records of his claimed advanced degrees from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the California Institute of Technology, two of the most prestigious science institutions on the planet. And they've found nothing. No yearbooks, no professors who remember him, no transcripts. Officials from both universities deny he ever attended. Furthermore, he claimed to have worked at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, a top-level government research facility, as a physicist. While a 1982 phone directory for Los Alamos does list a Robert Lazar in the physics section, skeptics argue this could be a different person, or that he worked in a much more minor capacity, perhaps as a radiation technician. They point to this lack of paper trail as definitive proof that he is lying about his entire credentials, and therefore his entire story. The government, of course, denies everything. They deny his employment. They deny the existence of S4. They deny everything, which is exactly what you would expect them to do if it were all true. This is the circular, maddening, and brilliant logic of the conspiracy. The lack of evidence is the evidence. The denial is the confirmation. So where does that leave us? With a man who is either one of the most important figures in human history or one of its most successful hoaxers. There is no in-between. His supporters argue that the campaign to discredit him, the erasure of his past, is the very proof of his authenticity. Why would the government go to such lengths to destroy the credibility of a nobody if he was just a liar? His critics argue that the lies about his education are the foundation of the whole house of cards. If he lied about that, why believe anything else? The truth is likely far stranger than any fiction we could imagine. Maybe he's a genuine whistleblower, and the secrets he exposed are real. Maybe he's a clever fraud who stumbled upon some scientific concepts that later became true by incredible coincidence. Maybe he was a limited hangout, a controlled opposition asset fed just enough truth to make his story believable in order to discredit the entire UFO field by association. Or maybe it's something else entirely, something we haven't even considered. But the undeniable fact is this: Bob Lazar's story, true or false, has permanently altered the landscape. The terms he introduced, S4, element 115, gravity wave propulsion, have become staples of the genre. They are part of our modern mythology. He forced the conversation to become more technical, more specific. He moved UFOs out of the realm of lights in the sky and into the realm of theoretical physics. He made us ask not just, are they out there, but how would they get here? His story resonates because it touches on something deep within us, a longing for the future to be here now. a hope that the answers to the universe's greatest mysteries are not light years away, but are hidden just out of sight, waiting for us to be brave enough or curious enough to uncover them. It's a story about the ultimate celestial journey, one that might not even require a spacecraft, but simply the truth. So the next time you look up at that vast, star-filled sky, remember the story of Bob Lazar. Remember the 9 ships in the mountain. Remember the element that shouldn't be. Remember the gravity that bends. And ask yourself, not just whether you believe him, but what it would mean for all of us if even a fraction of it were true. The journey to find out is just beginning.